My name's Carl Casali, and my family's been farming in Oregon for 4 generations now.
Hi there, my name is Kit Payne. I work for Taviva here in Florida.
My name is Dino Giacomazzi. I'm a 4th generation farmer here in Hanford, California.
I am Mario Ello, and I am the irrigation manager at Roy Farms.
We'd been doing the same thing for several years, as much of the industry does, and so we thought of bringing a technified approach to pollination was an area of the operation where there could be a lot of value added.
And Beeflow came and observed a lot of the cultivars, and all that sort of information allows us to design our orchards optimally to maximize the pollination that takes place, thereby ensuring that we get abundant fruit set and ultimately harvest a lot of beans this time next year.
And I was very impressed and very intrigued by the idea that you could create healthier bees and you could supplement them that would actually encourage them to preferentially pollinate blueberries. We're in an area where there's lots of other things around our farm. Bees like to pollinate easier than blueberries, so having bees that will actually go seek out the blueberries obviously enhances pollination, which increases our yield potential.
And I thought it was very interesting that a bee company was focusing on applied research. You don't see that very often. That's how Beeflow caught my eye and started working with them. Last season's studies really helped us to make decisions this year. We saw great results in fruit quality in Beeflow blocks.
Pollination is probably our single most important aspect of almond farming. One of the things that I really admire and respect about Beeflow is how they approach the bee problem. The effort that they put into research, the training, the time that they put out in the field, their forward-thinking nature, I'm sure is going to provide us with a much better pollination, but probably more importantly, a benefit to the entire planet.
It's been an absolute pleasure working with Beeflow. They're a great group of people. They work incredibly hard, and we look forward to working with Beeflow for many years here to come.
And they also learn very quickly, and those are the attributes that I value in a partner or a trusted advisor.
Bees are responsible for pollinating a lot of the crops in the world. There are more than 20,000 bee species in this planet, and we're relying mainly on just one, on honeybees to pollinate our crops. We are in the Central Valley of California, where 80% of the almonds of the world are being produced. That means more than 2 million beehives that are required to pollinate these farms. However, we are in serious challenges as there's a lot of bee species that are threatened to extinction, so we need to take action to try to overcome this. And one of the main reasons is bees' lack of nutrition. As we have removed natural habitats, they don't have flowers to feed while the trees are not blooming. Beeflow started in 2016. We're hoping to understand if there were opportunities to improve the way we're producing food. We started understanding that pollination was one of those single topics where we didn't pay too much attention, and that could generate a huge impact towards that pressure that farmers are starting to have from consumers, because farmers need to produce more with less. But when we started asking them, do you know what's the contribution that the bees are making to the pounds of fruits that you harvest? Most of those answers are no.
Almonds like long, hot, dry summers, and they like relatively cold winters. So you have to be within certain latitudes across the globe if you hope to grow almonds.
Almond flowers, they usually get more pollen in the morning and they get a nectar reward in the afternoon.
Yeah.
So it looks like the trees are giving them some energy at the end of the day to say, hey, next day you need to go do the work.
Yeah.
I met Stuart the first time back in 2018, and he was very open to have a conversation around pollination.
I think farming is always evolving. The thing that I love about Mateus and his team, he represents like somebody that's taking the latest in science and technology and applying it to something as basic as pollinators. I love that type of innovation and thinking. It's really progressive.
So we did a lot of research and partnered with some of the best bee biologists in the world to try to understand which were the key molecules that were very important to bees' diet. We feed the bees with specific products that are related to the crop that we want to pollinate. A blueberry product, cherries, avocados, strawberries, apples, pears, and many other crops. But we found out that there were some key molecules found in the plants that could enhance bees' immune system, and by doing so we could reduce bees' mortality by up to 70% and also increase their activity under cooler temperatures. When farmers hire Beeflow to pollinate their orchards, we design and execute pollination programs, and we feed those bees with our technologies. Besides that, during the bloom time, we measure how pollination is going, and we make decisions to maximize crop yields to growers.
I really just love that moment when you first crack the lid and the bees recognize that their roof has come off, and they kind of collectively take a breath and then relax. I really enjoy working in the lab, and I love the setting in academia, but when I saw what Beeflow was doing and how quickly we were advancing farmers' mindsets and change in the real world, it was so exciting to me, and that's why I jumped on the opportunity. Another key technologies at Beeflow is around enhancing the attraction between bees and the flowers that we want them to pollinate. So that process involves actually extracting the volatile compounds that come out of the flower. That's what makes a flower smell the way it does. And then synthesize that and give it back to the bees along with a treat. And that entices them or biases them to visit the crop instead of something outside of the farm.
So every 2 weeks we feed the bees with this technology to enhance the attraction to that crop and increase pollination and crop yields by not adding any inputs to the soil, by enhancing a natural process and applying scientific knowledge and technologies and help them produce more with less.
Historically, we would farm these trees and we would have very clean centers. We're now letting those go, and we're actually seeding some of those centers with wildflowers and cover crops that are both good for the soil but also provide a great host environment for the bees that we need to rent and native bees.
So we know for a fact that having complementary bee species into a farm can actually enhance pollination, because the bees find that there's another bee species competing for the same resources that they're looking for, so they start working harder and they start cross-pollinating more, so yields increase. Over the last 50 years, there has been a lot of innovation over new ways of irrigation, nutrition of plants, pest management, plant genetics. But what about pollination? We need to study more the impact and the contribution that nature and biodiversity is having in the way we are producing foods, and take more care of bees with a more scientific approach that can recognize the importance that the bees and pollinators have on our crops, so we can build agriculture systems that are in harmony with nature.